The Chicago Bears may have just caught a huge break heading into this matchup with the Indianapolis Colts. My name is Harrison Graham. Welcome into Bears Now by Chat Sports. Big matchup this weekend between the 1-1 Bears and 0-2 Colts. Before I tell you what that big break is, if you want the Bears to beat the Colts and improve to 2-1 on Sunday, hit that thumbs up icon. Don't jinx it. Let's get a ton of likes on today's show and take down those Colts. So the big break they have caught here is they're not going to have to go up against Matt Eberflus's old pal, DeForest Buckner. He was placed on IR earlier this week with a high ankle sprain. When you go to IR, you miss at least 4 games. So obviously he is unavailable for this matchup. This is a massive loss for Indy, a defense that is already struggling massively. We'll kind of outline that later on in the show as well. Buckner is one of the best interior disruptors in the NFL, and in just 64 snaps, he had already made a huge impact this year. 1.5 sacks, couple of quarterback hits. You got a Bears offensive line that's struggling. Not having to face him is a pretty big deal, and I think sometimes the schedule, when it comes out, it just works out in your favor, right? If you catch this Colts team later in the season, maybe Anthony Richardson's playing better. Maybe DeForest Buckner is healthy. Well, you're catching at a time where Anthony Richardson is struggling and DeForest Buckner is not healthy. And the Bears' interior offensive line has really struggled up to this point in the season. And any help you can get, and we don't cheer for injuries here, but that's just the reality. And with Buckner out, something that has to be mentioned, it's something that has to be outlined. And now, when you look at what they're going to be going up against, yeah, Grover Stewart's a nice player at nose, but he's not a high-level pass rusher. He's more of a run stopper. Taven Bryan's a career rotation guy. Adetomo Adebawore has not really panned out. The local kid out of Northwestern for a couple of years. He hasn't done much. Raekwon Davis, just a guy. Stewart's really the only player to somewhat circle heading into Sunday now at the defensive tackle position. Obviously, he's someone who can impact a game, especially stopping the run, but that's been an area they've really struggled in. So no DeForest Buckner. That's a pretty big win for the Chicago Bears. It's a huge break heading into this game. This would be another pretty significant one. Could Latu be out on Sunday? He's dealing with a hip injury, did not practice on Wednesday. We'll see what the injury report looks like today. Those usually come out around 3 o'clock this afternoon. We'll be live at 4, so we'll have updates there. He's considered day-to-day. They don't think it's serious, but even if it's not serious, he could still miss a game here. And again, this offensive line has had major issues. Matt Eberflus announced that they're not going to be making any changes. Now, Tevin Jenkins didn't practice yesterday, but they think he's going to be able to play on Sunday. They're rolling with Coleman Shelton and Nate Davis. No changes there. They want to find some continuity, which I get. I would push back on that a little bit. I feel like Nate Davis's effort at times has been questionable, but my take here is there's really no excuses this week. No DeForest Buckner. Even if Latu plays, he's a rookie that's not 100%. There's not a high-level disruptor that's healthy on this defensive line that you're facing in Indianapolis. Gus Bradley, their defensive coordinator, is under fire for how this defense has looked through 2 weeks. If the offensive line cannot play better on Sunday, there's really no excuses left. Like, I know it's early in the year, but you got to be better than how you've been. And you're playing a significantly less talented defense than you did the first 2 weeks. Get the job done. Get more production out of your offensive line. All right, before we continue, will the Bears' offensive line play better this week? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Pen comment coming up on today's show. So if you get hit with that YouTube ad break, answer down below. And then when you come back, we'll outline this a little bit further. They better play better because the Colts' defensive struggles, in addition to the injuries, it's quite frankly, it's been pathetic. I mean, you know how we've been ripping the Bears' offense and the offensive line in particular, and Shane Waldron and Chris Morgan? People in Indianapolis, Colts content creators, they're probably doing the same about their defense. Look at these numbers. Total yards per game through 2 weeks, 31st in the NFL, 400 yards per game. 400 yards per game in the NFL defensively is pretty damn bad, man. They're giving up 237 rushing yards per game through 2 weeks. No other team has given up more than 200 per game. Yards per carry over 5, 28th per game. So teams are just pounding the ball play after play. We saw last week the Packers with Malik Willis. The Colts knew they weren't going to throw the ball much, and they still gave up 150 yards rushing to Josh Jacobs. So Now, I look at this and I challenge the Chicago Bears, an offense that has struggled to get going and has struggled to run the football. Can the Bears get the running game going this week? You better, because if you don't, it's going to be a long week and a lot of criticism coming towards Shane Waldron and this Bears offense. Today's show is sponsored by Z-Biotics. Get started with Z-Biotics today at zbiotics.com/chatsports. I may not drink as much as I used to since I'm older now, but when I do, I typically don't bounce back the next day like I once did. That all changed when I found Z-Biotics Pre-Alcohol. Pre-Alcohol is the world's first genetically engineered probiotic. It was invented by PhD scientists to tackle rough mornings after drinking. When you drink, alcohol gets converted into a toxic byproduct in the gut. It's this byproduct, not dehydration, that's to blame for your rough next day. Pre-alcohol produces an enzyme to break this byproduct down. Just remember to drink this probiotic before drinking alcohol. Drink responsibly and get a good night's sleep to feel your best tomorrow. I kept hearing about pre-alcohol and wondered what it was actually like. Now that I've tried it, I believe the hype. I've used it on multiple occasions, and it's like I didn't even drink the night before. And with this technology, they will release different products that have nothing to do with alcohol. So go to zbiotics.com/chatsports. Use code CHATSPORTS to get 15% off your first order. You can also scan the QR code that is on your screen to get started today. That's code CHATSPORTS at zbiotics.com/chatsports for 15% off. That link is in the comments and description of this video. Shout out to Z-Biotics for sponsoring today's show. Okay, obviously the Bears' rushing attack has been abysmal up to this point. 28th in total yards, obviously same in yards per game. Yards per carry, 29th. DeAndre Swift has been abysmal. I don't think he's had a ton of great opportunities, but the few he's had, when you kind of look at some of the plays, he has not taken advantage of. Caleb Williams, 59 yards rushing, has kind of elevated that total yardage from probably should be closer to 30th, 31st. So it's a bad rushing attack against a horrible rushing defense. Something's got to give. You got to get this thing going this week. Again, if you don't, what are the excuses going to be? I mean, you're going up against a defense without their best player that's already been shredded through 2 weeks on the ground. I mean, what are you going to do? Are you going to man up and find a way to run the football? Is Shane Waldron going to commit to running the ball even if there's some struggles early with it? I think the whole point of the Shanahan system is as the game goes, you wear the opposing team out. You can't completely abandon the run. So I'm challenging Shane Waldron. I'm challenging this offensive line. I'm challenging DeAndre Swift. And if he can't get the job done, get Khalil Herbert and some of these other guys in there, because this is a team you should be able to run the football on. Maybe not for 240. Let's start with about 120. Can you give me half of that? Because that would be a much improvement from what we've seen offensively out of this rushing attack. Oh, and by the way, to catch another break here, the Colts kicker might be out. Matt Gay, who had been dealing with the hernia injury throughout camp, comes back, kicks last week. Well, now he's got a quad injury. So anytime an NFL team starting kicker is potentially out, that's a big deal because, yes, the kicking is more and more impressive every year. But if you have to go find a guy on the street or from your practice squad, chances are it's a major drop-off. So in a game like this where the point spread is basically a pick-em, that's not ideal for Indianapolis. They've got Spencer Schrader on the practice squad who kicked in week 1, did not attempt a field goal. He was 3 for 3 on extra points, so don't really know what he brings to the table at the NFL level. He would be the next man up if Matt Gay cannot go in this ballgame. I know this, 5 years in college, 68% kicker. That well below average, even for college standards. So if Matt Gay is out and a game nip and tuck potentially, that's another break for the Bears. Again, sometimes you get lucky with the schedule when you're playing a team. By the way, Rams next week, ton of injuries. Might have caught a break there based on when you're playing these guys. So this is a great opportunity. Colts are a 1-point favorite at home. Go get the job done. Take advantage of these breaks that you're given based on some of the Colts injuries and just how they're playing right now. And the bottom line is this. They're banged up. Anthony Richardson is really struggling as a passer. If you don't let him loose as a runner, he's completing less than 50% of his passes right now. And Gus Bradley has this defense playing at a bottom of the league level. It's just not good. Now, their passing defense, the numbers will look good because they're only giving up 160, 170 passing yards per game. But teams are just running the ball over and over again because they can't stop the run. So we don't even really know if their pass defense is good. Hopefully the Bears can run the ball effectively so Caleb Williams doesn't have to drop back 45-plus times like he did last week. Let's keep those numbers down, get the ground game going, control the clock a little bit, and let's go take care of business on the road. What is your confidence level in the Bears winning this week? Scale from 0 to 10. 0, you got no faith whatsoever. 10, you've got immense faith. Got to go right down the middle. 5, again, you're catching a team at the right time, but can we say we're crazy confident in this Bears offense right now? Probably not. It's probably going to be a tight game. That should be advantage Bears just based on some of the Colts' deficiencies right now, but they're playing at home, so that's probably kind of an equalizer at the end of the day. All right, thank you guys so much for joining us. If you made it to the end of the video, that makes you a real one. Be sure to subscribe to the channel and join us this afternoon, 4 o'clock Central Time, as we will be live with more analysis on this matchup, injury latest, and a whole lot more. My name is Harrison Graham. We will see you guys then. Bear down.